that like that. Post-test is after the treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but before the treatment, I forgot the term. Yeah, so first collect data from the group without the test, without the treatment. Sorry. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, the post-test, after applying the treatment, and then analyze the data.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
The
are right.
treatment is the IBL, right?
Yes, IBL is
Yeah.
is from the word inquiry-based learning.
Yes.
Uh, okay, you are right. In a
No,
very
I
brief.
remember that pre-test. Okay, pre-test and post-test.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You are right. So to do this kind of research, first there are two things that you need to know about. The first is IBL. The first is IBL. What is IBL? Look like what is the process of doing IBL and what is the effect of IBL on learning achievement. Mostly in this title, we talk about just math achievement, a very small components of learning achievement. When we talk about learning achievement, there are many subjects, right? But here we just talk about math achievement. So to do these kinds of research, you need to know what is by IBL, what is the process of doing IBL, what is the effect of IBL on learning achievement, especially math achievement. This is the way that you do literature review on. So literature review will focus on what I'm talking about. And when you want to know about the effects of IBL, when you want to know the effect of IBL, uh, what can you use to measure? What can you use to measure? What can you use? If you want to know the size of the room, what kind of measurement tool that you use to measure? How you know your your condo room size is expensive or is cheap? For example, I have another question. How you know your condo room is expensive or not expensive? How you know it?
Ask the real estate agent to evaluate the price.
Yeah. How you know it?
Is it the furniture, decoration, or material inside the condo room, or the facility or house appliance inside the condo room, the location,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be the floor, the number on the
Mm-hmm.
floor. Where is it? Which floor is it?
Mm-hmm. For example, for example, I I assume that inside the room, something inside is the same between condo in in where in Bangkok, and in where? For
Somewhere in the
example, Chro
suburb.
Changwa.
Actually.
For example, Chro Changwa. We assume that inside the room some furniture and the quality of room is the same. How can we know that condo in Bangkok and Choi Jongwa, which one is more expensive?
Is that depend on the location, lecturer?
Yes, this one depend on the location. Which one is more expensive, you think?
For me, I don't know.
You don't know? But for
Yeah,
Cambodian,
it
you may
depends
know.
on location. I don't know, but maybe in general, if I need to know my condo if it's expensive or not, I would just take the size of my condo and then have the average price of the 1 meter square in Phnom Penh, let's say, and then compare it. Compare my condo's price with the average price in Phnom Penh for the 1 meter square, I think.
Okay, this is the answer that I want from the beginning. This is the answer that I want from the beginning. And back to this question, how you know? How can you know IBL is effective or not on maths achievement? You need to measure it. How you measure it? What kind of tool you use to measure? As Rand mentioned earlier, to know that your condo is expensive or is cheap, it's based on the surface of condo and locations. For example, in Bang in Bangkok, for example, in Bangkok, you will see 1 square meters equal, for example, $3,000. But in Choi Changwa, 1 square meter it's just 25,000 US dollars. You can say that Bangkok condo is more expensive than Choi Changwa condo. Why? You know it is more expensive because you try to compare already with the scale that you measure the same scale but different price. So it's mean that you use meter to measure, and then you conclude because you have the same scale and you know the price between the two locations of condo, and you can conclude that Bangkok condo is more expensive than Choi Changwa condo. So something that I want you to be aware with is what kind of tool that you use to measure. Here's the meter that you use to measure the the what? The the surface or the side of the condom. And how about this one? What kinds of tool that you use to measure? Actually,
Assessment,
you
lecture.
just want to know IBLs is effective or not to help students with maths. Yes? Anybody want to talk, please?
Could it be measured by an assessment?
Yes, you are right. Actually, assessment is not a tool. Assessment is something that you already judge, you already conclude. Before going to assessment, before going to the word assessment, before going to the word assessment, you have the word measure first. You have the word measure first. When you measure something, and then the output is the number. You use that kind of number to judge, it is called assessment. So here, I just want to know what kind of tool that you want to measure. Here, something in the bracket that I want to know. From this kind of example, we use meter to measure, right?
Student. We use
Measure the size.
student.
Yes, again, please.
We use student as a tool.
Use what?
Students.
Yeah.
Uh,
How
lecturer.
how can you know that your student is smart or not really smart? How can you know that your student is good at reading? How can you know that your student is good at social science or good at science? How can you know that?
Lecturer, can we say we use the result or the score that the student get from the test?
Use the result of the score. Let me write first. Result of the score. How can you get the result of the score?
The Bloom's taxonomy.
Bloom taxonomy.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. I write first. Bloom taxonomy. I don't really know. Please help me to think about it. As I asked you earlier, how can you know that your students are good at reading? How can you know that your student good at maths? How can you know that your student good at English? Uh, as Yanan, how can you know that your student good at Chinese? Right? Somebody told me that uh, we can know that the student are good at what I mentioned is because of the result of the score. But the thing, how can you get the score? How can you get the score?
Lecture.
Yanan told us that, yeah, please.
For me, I would prepare an activity to evaluate my students' abilities.
Okay, you are right. You are right, but not 100% right. It's just about it's about 33%, right? Okay, let me remind you here. You know this word? Yanan did write with 33 points. Yes, 33.3% true. You know how to do lesson plan, right? Anybody anybody know it?
Yes, of course.
Anybody know how to do lesson plan?
Yes, yes, of
Uh,
course.
uh, yes.
Yes, yes.
Please tell me. First
Um,
thing that you need to write is objective, right?
yes, aim or objective.
Right? Yes, you can write. You can say aims. Also fine. There are three aims. Was introduced in Cambodian context, but I don't know is it the same or not in China, in Iraq. Is it the same or not? If yes, please inform me. The first is about cognitive, right? The second one is about affective, and the last one is about psychomotor. Is that right? And what Rand told me, it means you try to measure psychomotor. You are right. That's why I said that you are right. Just 33.3%. And what Yanan talked about is here. Measure true with 33.3%. And how can you measure this? How can you measure this? You aware with this? You aware with it or not? When you want to measure cognitive, it means you use tests. What kind of test? You use taxonomy. And this one, questionnaire. And this one, it is called rubric. You aware with this or not? I think mostly if you go through pedagogy, you may be aware with these kinds of measurement tool. But I don't really know. I'm not really sure about the one who study in Cambodian context. Even they went through pedagogy school, but they don't really know about it. You want to know with what I'm talking about? Or is it complex for you? Why you so quiet? You mostly teacher, right?
Lecture, what is the tool? This is the question.
Yeah.
What is the tool?
What's
So
the
the,
tool?
yeah,
You know how to develop a test, right? The tool that is used to measure cognitive, it is called test. It is called test. The tool used to measure length are used to measure size, It is called meters. The tool used to measure atmosphere, it is called thermometer. The tool used to measure psychomotor, as you mentioned, it is called rubric. The tool used to measure affective domain, it is called questionnaire. You talk about questionnaire. Sometimes I can use this number, psychological variable, psychological. Sometimes I mention it a psychological variable. The variable that you cannot measure directly, it is called affective or psychomotor, as a psychological variable. So that's why I asked what you can use to measure IBL. Actually, you're not measuring IBL. You are measuring maths achievement. And the tool that is used to measure it, it is called test. And I don't care whether it is pre-test or post-test, but the tool that you use to measure math achievement, it is called test. And everybody, you know how to develop a test, right? I don't talk much about how to develop a test. And for Ren, why you need to measure your student as a psychomotor? Because you teach in early age class, or sometimes I can call preschool or primary school, right?
No, lecturer,
So
because when I said assessment, I meant test. But then you said from here we judge, from the assessment we judge. So that's why I said maybe activities to evaluate the student abilities. So yeah, that's
mhm,
why. But when I said assessment, I meant test.
mhm.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I think we need to clarify about two more words. Then the first one is measure, and the second one is assessment. Is it different? Yes, but high related. High related. Sometimes people call it evaluations. Sometimes people call it appraisal. Yes. Sometimes people call it accreditation. They are forward connecting to the word assessment. In USA, mostly people use appraisal. In Cambodia, there's a unit that that is called external body to 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 assure or to evaluate higher education. It's called ACC. What is the difference between the two words? You know the meaning? The outcome. The outcome of measure is number. outcome of assessment is judgment. That assessment need number we judge. What's the meaning? What's the meaning? You understand the concept that I'm talking about or not? If you don't understand, please extend your questions. I think from the beginning that you all know about this. That's why I try not to talk about it much. Actually, it's not in the concept that we talk about research methodology and the statistics. It's another side of major, but it is really connected when we talk about research instrument development. Why you look so quiet now? You got my point or not? You already lost it.
Almost.
Back to the example here. Why condo here is more expensive? You cannot know that it is expensive or not expensive if you don't have number. If you don't have any numbers. So before you know that, or before you check that Bangkok condo is more expensive than Choi Changwa condo. Before you check that, it means you based on this number already, right? If you don't have this number, you cannot check. So this number, it's called measure. It's called measure. And you use this number to check that it is more expensive, it is cheaper. It is called assessment. You got the point? You got the point here?
Yes, lecturer, I got it.
you
Me too, yeah.
you know that your student is clever than other teacher students. How can you know they are clever then? Right? For example, you said that class 7A, for example, class 7A is better than class 7B in math, for example. Before you post this, statement, how can you know class A is better than class B?
Their scores
How can you know?
higher.
Actually, you need to have the score, right? The score of 7 A's. For example, 45. And score, score of 7B is 30 on 50, right? Actually, before you say that class 7A is better than class 7B, it means you have the number in your head already, or the number in your list already, right? And how can you get this number? How can you get this number?
By the test.
How can you get this number? Yes, you are right. Test. Test could allow you to identify the numbers of students in maths. Clear now?
Clear, lecturer.
We go back and forward. I don't know. So let me go back to here again. Actually, we try to put IBL as teaching and learning process. Actually, the class of 7A and 7B is in normal ways of teaching and learning. Mostly, especially in Cambodia, teacher will teach student within lecture base mostly. Even there's a lot of introductions about student center, about blended learning, about inquiry based, but mostly teacher do it as lecture based. So if you want to know that IBL is effective on math development, on math creations, you need to do IBL as Westerner or IBL as Cambodian context. But IBL need to be different from lecture based. IBL need to be different from student centered approach. If you cannot make it different, it is not called IBL. That's why I told you from the beginning that first thing that you need to know is about IBL. What is IBL look like? What is the process of doing IBL? How many steps are there to IBL? And then the relation of IBL on learning achievement. So three main concepts you need to identify clearly. You need to recognize, you need to know it well from definition to process and the effect of it on learning achievement. So here, to know that IBL is effective or not, yes, Ren, you are right. You need pre-test. You need pre-test. For example, pre-test here, you got just only 40 on 100. After you measure it, it means you put IBL in. After a period of time of putting IBL here, IBL. After a period of time of putting IBL, you do again post-test. And then you will see, for example, you got 60 on 100. So here's the number. Here's the number. Here's the number waiting for you. And you need to use this kind of number to make judgment. You need to use this number to make judgment. It's called assessment, as you and I mentioned earlier. And before you make judgment, you do some analysis on the number that you obtain. This called a full process of experimental research. And the data analysis here, it can be descriptive, it can be comparisons, it can be correlations or predictions. It's up to you. Here, before you do judgment, you need to treat some data first. You say that 40 is lower than 60, right? You just compare like this. 40 is lower than 60. So the judgment is IBL. Make some difference. It is called experimental analysis. Here's the process. But when you do analysis, you need some software to help you. If you can, SPSS. But if you cannot use SPSS, you can use Excel to compare. That's all for today from the word data analysis, data entry. Any questions? You got the clear concept. You got the clear concept yet with data entry and data analysis. If you still have some problem, just raise the questions. And if you say no, we will have a small break, and I will come back with 2 assignments or 2 homework that I post in group Telegram. Clear yet now?
Good morning, teacher.
Yeah, please.
I was wondering about IBL during implementation. So who will implement IBL or to show what is IBL to the participant?
It's up to you. It can be yourself, or it can be the teacher who teach normal class already. But you try to teach him or her the concept of IBL. You can do it yourself by researcher, or you can ask your assistant, especially the teacher who teach in normal class.
Teacher, is it possible that we are the researcher or we are doing this research and then we do the intervention by yourself?
Yes, it is the best way if you can do it yourself. because you may know well about the concept, about the process, about the step of doing IBL. But actually, IBL can be introduced to other people. Actually, it's not really complex, right? The best way researcher should do it by him or herself. This is the best way. You can see in some research process, the author wrote that I have teacher assistant, I ask somebody to do it. Everything that you do in research process, you just inform the reader. And it's not the rule that researcher need to do it by him or herself or by themselves. Just explain what kinds of activity, what kinds of teaching and learning process that we put into the system. And then we check before we put that kinds of treatment into the system, and after, what is the difference? And it is called comparison analysis. More questions if you have?
Teacher, when we do it by ourselves, would it become by us or, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, you need permissions. You need permissions. At least from school principals. That's why from the beginning, before introducing you the research design, I always ask you, you are a teacher or not? You are a teacher? Experimental research is the most appropriate way, because you teach your student every day already, but you just change your teaching methodology or teaching activity. But if you are not a teacher who teach in the class, it can be you are principal's assistant, so you can connect the variable of principal within your work. Also fine. You got the point?
Yes, thank you, teacher.
Okay, more questions if you have. But if you don't have, you just have 15-minute breaks. We will come back at 9:45.
Okay,
I'm not going anywhere. If anybody want to take some rest, yes. But if somebody still have some question, we can continue to discuss here. Not just only the content that you will learn, but you can discuss on the assignment that you will do in at the end of this course. I'm not going anywhere, and but we are in a break mode, so just chit chat or talk about your assignment also fine.
Lecturers, can I ask about my research proposal?
Yep, you can.
Okay, so I feel a little bit complicated with my proposal, and it is a bit strange for me to select which one should be my top topic. But based on teacher Soksot recommend to me. He also suggest me to conduct the qualitative research based on case study, and the topic is learnings about like feeding the chicken at the Stung Train Secondary School, and then we learn from the process of it and apply that model into the curriculum to reflect on life skill. So to me, that is a bit uh, like new for me. So I I'm asking you to provide me some idea based on what I'm doing. Currently, I'm a life skill trainer and I'm developing the life skill app in Cambodia, and I'm also working with shoe organization such as GIZ you said, and uh, currently at Far Valley Selepa. But should I change it into the technology sector one, because I also working on it, and to me, if I travel to Stung Treng, that is a bit far from from here. I mean from Siem Reap and Phnom Penh. So what is your idea, and could you provide me some advice to do it?
Okay. Thank you for the information. Actually, I mostly never ask you to do things not basing on your research interest, and the most useful way that I try to ask you is, what is your research problem? What is your research interest? From the starting point here, we will try to explain the problem, the interest that you're interested in, and then let's see whether it is variable or it is phenomenon. If it is converted from your problem or from your interest to be phenomenon, you would choose qualitative ways. And if you convert your problem or your research interest into variable, you should choose to do quantitative stream or quantitative way. So I'm not telling you to do qualitative or quantitative, but what is your interest or what is your problem? Starting from that, we will know you should choose which one. And I always ask all of you, not just only you, ask all of you to start from your working. When you working, you will face with some problem. And mostly you are a teacher, even you are civil servants or you are NGO servants. I don't know, but mostly all of you are from the background of education, from teacher. You can use your position and your work to do your research, and it may benefit you very much in the future. For example, the one who try to do IBL, if you know well and if you understand well the word IBL, you try to use that kind of teaching methodology, and you will find something new with your working day with your working as a research to finish your degree. So I don't want all of you to separate between your permanent or your everyday work and your thesis. So please tell me what is your research interest or research problem first.
Yeah. To me, based on my current job, it is about the life skill and resilient building. So as we can see, starting from um, the high school level, or we can say start from the primary school, there is no life skill in implementation at high school level. So that is the way that I want to integrate the curriculum. But based on the education policy, they also have the life skill lesson into the curriculum as well. But there is a lack of implementation at that level. So my that is my concern, and that is the problem based on the real situation. And the student will not have the chance to understand the life skill and soft skill. They just focus on just the technical skill, and they lose the critical skill and some skill that uh, uh, link them to that to the professional life. So that is the concern, and based on my my experience, I don't have any lesson from high school to teach me how to sell, how to um, how to set the goal, and how to deal with the problem with friend and peer pressure, something related to it. So this is the way that I want to integrate the lesson plan or the curriculum into it, and then just set up one test, for example, one test, and then apply it into the school, into one school. We can select one school, and then produce it the effective result, and then like to provide or to implement it in the whole thing of the curriculum in Cambodia. So that is the thing that I really want to do. And based on what I'm doing, one of the important thing is about the app. So in Cambodia, there is no uh, online life skill app in Khmer, but now I'm developing it, and it is work really well. And I'm applying to one school, but that is the art school for Silpa in Bat Tampong. That is really work well. So the first thing, we provide them the app to learn from the app. That is we call LMS. Um, we just provide them the micro lesson first, mean that the theoretical part, and then we have face-to-face training. So that model is worked really well. And after we finish the course, or after we finish the project, we encourage the student to form up the group, and we have some grant, some fun for them to create something from that skill or from that lesson. So that is the thing that we work really well, and we can see the result of the student based on the need assessment and based on what we have in interview to them. But the thing that uh, I was wondering is about which way should I start first, because yeah, to be honest with you, I would start something that deeply like that to raising awareness by feeding the chicken, and then to see the progress of the student. But for right now, I'm working with the app, so I can see the result of them already. So it is a little bit, a little bit complicated to decide which part should I step first. and which part should I skip first?
Okay, thank you very much for the information. Actually, you can do both of the process that you mentioned, but you said that your process is effective already. Is there any proof? Is there any data collection process? And is there any conclusion yet?
Yeah, just
If
of course I did
if
it.
if yes, it means you do your experimentals already, but you would expand your uh, process or expand your experiment to other contexts of school. You said that you just implemented it in a kind of school. I don't know the background of that kind of school, but is it the same as normal school in Cambodia, or is it different
Uh,
from other normal school that offered by the state, offered by the government? If it is the same or similar, yes, you can generalize your research result to every school. But if that kind of school is different in some part, you should explain some part that is different, and you just inform that if you want to use my method, you need to be aware with what. It's mean you find out the research result already with the part of experiment, and if you want to do it again, yes, you are allowed to do it with other school, with different contexts, with different locations. Is it still effective or not? Because you asked me from the beginning, you want to put this teaching, it can be called curriculum or it can be called system, to other kinds of school, right? So you need to prove whether your model, whether your system is really effective or not. Before you know IBL, as I mentioned again and again, there are many proof already, actually, especially in Western country. So you just did it for the first time. You said that it effective. Yes, this is the first step of answering the problem that is happening to education system. But is it truly? Is it confirmed to what kind context of school? What kind of the school location? I think not yet. So if you try to prove it, you should choose quantitative, and you try to prove with other school or the school that you mentioned earlier in Stung Prang, also fine. And you are not limited to do just only quantitative, pure quantitative or pure qualitative. You can do mixed method. For example, you start from experimental, as you mentioned earlier, and you try to add some information as the confirmation, why you choose to do like that, why there's the outcome like that, with qualitative ways of confirming or answering to what you want to extend your knowledge about it, as you mentioned earlier, as the part of qualitative, also fine. And it is called mixed method research. That's fine. But from the beginning, it seemed like quantitative. Quantitative. You want to endorse life skill to the system. You want to put life skill into active, right? So what kind of system, what kind of teaching methodology that you can put life skill into the system? As you mentioned from the beginning, life skill curriculum or life skill subject is also existed, but it's not active, right? It's not active or it does not exist. I, I may lose your description from the beginning.
You mean the life skill curriculum or something
Yeah,
related?
life skill that you mentioned. I don't
Okay.
know, is it curriculum or is it the subject? I don't really know about it. But if
We also have in
yeah,
our curriculum, but there is a league or some school there is no implementation. So I see that
it, it's mean it is already existed, but it's not active, right?
yes, of course.
Yes. So you try it to you try to make it active by using your LMS, by using your method. So your method of implementing it is called treatment. I don't know what the names. It can be LMS, it can be app, it can be blended learning process. I don't know, but everything that you did, it is called treatment. So you need to explain reader everything that you did. For example, you found that life skill is always missing from high school. Even even the Ministry of Education try to put or try to push or try to enhance school to offer this kind of subject or this kinds of uh, skill to the student, but it's still missing. And to do it effectively, to make it active, you have some tool, you have some packet to make it active, and you need to describe, you need to tell everything about your package. uh, I don't know, you can use it as packet, use it as system, use it as teaching methodology. I don't know, but you try to find the name. But all that you need to put into system, it is called treatment.
Okay, thank
And
you.
from the beginning, you said that life skill is missing, life skill is low in performance, something like that. And to make it active, you have some proof, you have some system to make it active, and the system or the packet that make it active, it is called treatment. And before you put your treatment, you measure students first, what the level of life skill is, and after you put it, you measure it again and try to compare. It is called experimental. And if you want to extend your understanding about that, as you mentioned earlier, you continue with qualitative way a little bit, also fine. But be aware with the time. Is it available for you to do the two process together or not?
Yes, so
If
that's why I'm asking you.
uh, actually to see the output from life skill, how long as your experience about it?
It's been 12 months, 1 year.
You have time to do it, you have time to finish it. or
Yes.
you just make it as a term of 3 months? Is it fine?
Yeah, I think that is a bit long for me, but I think both way is really good for me to research on it. But what I was um, scaring is about the time that we start to conduct that research. So so that's
Yeah.
why I'm I'm asking you which one should I step first. For example, I'm working with the app and I use the result for the student already. So should I start with what I have done first, and then let extend our research to like the qualitative and to uh, yeah, something related to the school implementation. So we can learn from that model, can learn from that process to create our own thing and to apply for the school or to the school.
So I think you may be aware with what I'm talking about, and you try to compare that kinds of process with the time that you have. So I don't care which one you should do, which one you choose, but you may be aware with the availability of the work that you will do, the time that you will have. So try to measure and decide yourself. I cannot decide for you which one you should choose, which one you should do, and I try to ask you to think or to critical think about it from the beginning, and the decision is you who decide.
Okay, thank you, lecturer. I think that is enough for me to receive your advice, and I will start to write it down because now I'm working on it as well. I'm writing the introduction and something related to the thing, but after I start to write, it seems like it a bit stuck, and I question myself why I'm not writing about my thing or uh, my current thing that I'm doing. Why I start to do the new thing, but it is still related to each other. So that is make me stuck.
Uh, okay, everybody is back. I think we did 7 minutes over time, and I think you got the point that I want to inform you. And let try your best, and we can talk later,
Yes,
individual, or we can meet in class. Also fine.
thank you, lecturer. I'm really appreciate that, and yeah, thank you.
Okay, you welcome. Not you, all the participants in the class, all your classmates also can ask. Uh, let me go back to our content, to our assignment. I have two questions using the using the data that I gave in group Telegram. First thing, we should know what kind of question is it. I copy the question first to put here. Here's the question, and I will open the data here. Here's the data that you see. Actually, it's the data that you are asked to do data reentry. This is the questionnaire about what you already did. from the beginning that I already clarified with you. So what the question's about? Actually, you know already, right? You know already which item that I mentioned about. So let's go back to questionnaire first. Here's the questionnaire. Which item that I will use to answer the questions, to answer the research question. If you post the research question, you remember it already, right? The thing that we will use from this kind of questionnaire, there's only 2 or 3 variable only. So going to the first questions, the first question is like this. Are there any significant difference for grade concern between male and female students? How many variables are there in these research questions?
3.
How many? 3 variables. What are they?
Grade and male and female students.
Male and female.
And grade.
And grade concern, right? The first is grade concern. And the second and the third, male and female. Is it like this? Please rethink again. How many variables are there in this research question? How many?
3, right?
I don't know. Just try to ask you to confirm first.
I think 3. Grade concern.
There are
and
3 variables, right?
Yes.
Anybody think that how many? Your friend told me that there are 3 variables. And how about you? How about you? How many variables are there in the first research questions? Actually, there are only 2.
Yeah.
Why
Right.
2?
2. So
Why
male and
2?
female go under variable sex or gender.
Yes, you are right. You can measure the gender by measuring male and female. So what are dependent and what are independent variable? What are dependent and what are independent?
The grade concern, it's dependent variable, right?
Okay,
And the gender is
easy.
independent.
Grade concern, and this one is gender or sex. You see. So this is from the questionnaire. This is from the questionnaire that I post here. Male and female, and where's the grade concern? Which one between the 7s? Which one? Which one from the 7 item here?
Number 2.
Yes. Again, please. Which item that talk about grade concerns?
257.
There are three.
Three, number three.
Number three.
Number 7.
Yeah, I think only number 7.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Three.
I
No.
think so. I think so.
Okay, 7.
Yes, just grade 7 only, right? So I may go to my data here. Actually, it's number 7 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 here. So I may answer the research question by using analysis, compare mean, one way ANOVA, and then I put the word EML1 to dependent list, put the word seek into the word factors, and then okay. So what is the answer? To see this, what is the answer?
No significant differences.
Yes. So what is the answer? You most of you always know how to analyze, but after you get the output, you don't know how to tell. Actually, it is connected to the question that you posed from the beginning. So to see the answer, to see this kinds of analysis result, what you will talk about? What is your answer?
There are no any significant differences for great concern between genders.
Yes, this is the answer. So why you say that it is difficult? Why you say that it is difficult?
Because
The
most
answer
of us
is
are not exposed to the interpretation of the ANOVA or the analysis.
there are not any significant difference or great concern between, I can say, genders, between gender. That's the answer. So you try to summarize. It means you try to summarize number, and then you use that kind of number to conclude. Here's the number that you summarize, and here's the word that you conclude from the number here. And when you write it, you just write it as F1, and you write it as APA style of writing. You need to write this. That's all. Here's the answer. And this the style of writing with APA style. You got the point? Actually, this sentence is enough to inform to the reader that between male and female student, they concern about their grade. They concern about their grade. It means that boy also concerned, girl or female also concerned about the grade when they are in the class. Make sense? And
Lecturer, I would like to know about the 1,599. Where do you get from?
actually it's the sample. It's not 599. It's a 600. Try to see this. Try to see this. Is it 600 or not? Sample size. It is called. Oh, yes. Sample size. 601. Not just only 600. 601. Because you have 1 degree of freedom. Oh, you got it wrong? Sorry, I put wrong number here. It's 600, sorry. It's not about 599. You take the number here. Number 1, it is called degree of freedom. And you take the number of the total sample to put here. And this the APA style of writing. You got it?
Teacher,
Yeah.
what's the number if there's significant difference?
It you rise the number from the table like this. The first, when you write F, here is F. You start with F and then followed by degree of freedom here. You see degree of freedom, and then followed by total number of sample, and then F value. So we don't care whether it is 6 or not 6, but you need to know the positions of the number that you bring to write. The first is F, the second is degree of freedoms between group, and then total degree of freedom, followed by S value here, and here the significant value. That's all. So there are many numbers. You don't need to take it. You just take just only 4 positions from the table to write here. So sometimes here it can be more than 0.5. It's up to the number that you gain from analysis.
Lecturer, I
Yeah.
have a question. So now we are checking if there is like significant difference. So for me,
Yeah.
like for my understanding, if there is no significant, maybe in the column of the significant, the last one, the number should be 0, according to my understanding.
No.
It's
But
point of it's 0.05, right?
Significant significant difference here, if you base on the default, it's 0.05. You need to remember, if it is bigger than, if it is bigger or equal to 0.05, it means not significant difference. But if the number pointing here with the position that I highlight is lower than 0.05, it means significant difference.
Ah,
Bigger
okay.
than,
This is the decimal. Okay, okay. I thought it's a correct number.
bigger than mean that not significant difference. Lower than or smaller than 0.05 or 0.05, it the cutting point. 0.05 is the cutting point. Lower than significant, higher than not significant difference. You got it?
Yes, lecturer. Thank you.
Any more question, please?
Teacher,
This is a
again.
very
Sorry, teacher. If it higher or equal 0.05, it is significant, isn't it?
value.
Higher, no.
If the sig value is high or equal to 0.05, not sig. If the sig value, if the sig value you got it? You got it? Now, here's the criteria. Sig value, I mean the sig value in this column. Is it okay? So the value pointing here is higher than 0.05, meaning that not significant difference. That's why we wrote like this. Clear or not clear? Not clear? Back to ask me again.
Lecturer, I have one more question. I have one question. Maybe I don't know about the key term of the word in each column. Sum of square DF means square, so I cannot understand about the finger result. And another one is I'm not sure about what is between group and within group. And I cannot see the result. Let me continue. If you see the result between group, we can see between group we can see the result by row. But for within group, there is no result in F and significant.
Okay. Let me go back here. Let me go back here to answer your questions. What are you comparing right now? You are comparing between group or you are comparing within groups?
The question is about between.
Yes, that's why the result is about between. So the characteristic of ANOVA is to compare between group only, not compare within group. Compare the concern of male, of the group male, and concern and the group female. So it is called between male and female. So that's why the result is showing you with between group only. You got it? So
Yes.
the number that you will use to report is within 4 positions. The first is here. The first is here. The second is here. The third one is here. And the last one is here. So just the red number that is used to report, to confirm with wording that you judge or you access already. In wording, you use this sentence. In number, you use this line. You got it?
Yes. But
Next.
why it appear with same group in this report?
The question is what you are comparing right now. So that's why I told you from the beginning, when you develop research tool, you need to know the characteristic of variable, and then you need to know the characteristic of statistic. Between the two need to go together. And what is comparison, or what is ANOVA characteristic? ANOVA characteristic is to compare between group. Is there any difference within group? Sometimes we say yes, but we don't want to compare within group. We just want to compare between. That's why the number of within group is not up here with F and 6 for you. So you don't need to care about the number in the table. You just care about 4 positions only. The first one here, here, the second, the third, and the fourth one. So what you want to clarify more? What you want to clarify more?
You ask me, lecturer?
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
And this is the way of APA style of writing. If you choose other way, the number that you need to put here may be different. So be aware that this is the way of APA styles of writing. If you are not using APA style of writing, the number could be different. When you extract APA remediation that I already said to the group. So be sure to write the number like this is APA styles of writing. If you choose not to write APA style, sometimes not writing the number like this. Clear? Clear with the concept? Clear with what is data analysis look like? I'm focusing just only with quantitative because you are in the course of quantitative. When you analyze the data based on qualitative, ask Dr. Sokso. I don't know too. Back to the beginning that I want to ask you again. First, you understand well the word analysis. You understand well with research questions and data analysis to answer research question already or not yet. This is the way that I'm trying to tell you to connect between research question. Here is an example of research question. If you post the research question like this, what is the analysis technique that you will use and what is the answer? That's all. Do you understand it well or not yet? If not yet, asking me again.
So can you just clarify it again, because a bit not clear.
Yeah. So try to do some practice. Actually, the word assignment that I always post, it's not a requirement, but I just want you to try to do it again and again. If you try to do it, you will find some difficulty, and you will have some questions, and then you are always available to ask. And if you know well here, it's not difficult for you to do your research to get your degree. But if you don't understand well about this, your degree is not really easy to get it. And the way that I want you to know is to learn research, you need to develop or you need to generate a new knowledge from research. Actually, you have many concepts, you have many things that you need to do, but to generate new knowledge by using scientific process, it's not an easy way. And if you can do it, it will benefit you from now to your profession, to your career path. So getting a certificate is a choice, but getting a real knowledge, a process of generating knowledge is another way that you should gain it. Okay, let me move to the second questions. And the second question will allow me to answer to the question that your classmate asked me from the beginning. It's almost the same. It's almost the same question, but different variable. Firstly, we talk about great concern as a dependent, as the early or as the first example, but you have different IV. You have different IV. So go back to data view. You will see. You will see. Here's the data view. Now we're talking about age. Can you analyze directly? For example, I go directly to data analysis. I will not choose, I choose compare mean first, and then ANOVA, ALM, and then I choose age to put here. Is it okay? Please tell me.
I think it's not going to work because the measurement of age here is scale, and we have a different age. 2021.
Okay.
You should
Okay.
group them first.
Okay. Thank you very much for the answer. It means you know ANOVA well.
No,
So
not really well, but I remember from the workshop I attended at Kapong Cham.
Okay. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier too, you need to know the characteristics of statistic and characteristics of your variable. If you can identify it clearly, yes, you will choose the right way to analyze. So I need to convert A to category or to nominal first before going to ANOVA. Because when we talk about ANOVA, you may remember this. You see? You may remember this. This is the formula to do ANOVA. Your DV is quantitative already. We don't care about it. But your IV need to be category. Need to be category. But in this data set, you have age as a scale. So you need to convert it into category first. Then to make it into category, how to do it? Before going to make it to category, let me check the characteristic of it first. We go to analyze, descriptive, and we choose age to here, and we can see maximum, minimum, rank, standard deviation, skewness. Okay, fine. I don't need to choose anything. I just use default. And you see, the age interval is from 17 to 32. How many group that you want from these intervals? How many? For example, I want just only 2 category. I just use 20 or 25 as the cut point. Also fine. You understand what I'm talking about?
No, lecturer, I didn't.
You see, the age of the respondent is ranked from 17 to 32. So the interval is just from 17 to 32. From this interval, how many category that you want from the age? Okay, I assume that I want just only 2 groups. So what is the cut point that you want? I use 20 as the cut point. So I will go to the word transform and then go to recode into different variable. It means I'm trying to make another variable that is in category called measure. I convert age into age cat, for example, age cat 2. It means that I try to make it into 2 categories. Here, after I put the name here, I put the word change. Age cat 2 is happening, is appearing. And then I would go to old and new value. This what is about cutting point that I told you from the beginning, and I will use 20 as the cut point. I try to go into this tape, and then I choose this one. I choose this one from lowest through the value. So I use 20. It means I choose from 17, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 as category 1 here, as category 1 here. And then I try to choose from 21 to the highest number as category 2 and add here. So it means I convert the word egg into 2 category already, and then continue, and you will see a new variable happening to the data set. Let's see. You see, this is the variable that we just make it from the beginning. And you know the scale is nominal already. You got the point? And you will see, firstly, with the 8 is ranked from 17 to 32. But now it is converted just only to the number 1 and 2. Let's see together. You see, the 8 is ranked from 17 to 32. But with category, it is 1 and 2 only. You got the point? Could you follow me? Quiet now.
Lecturer, actually, the most subject I hate is physics, and now I feel that we are studying physics.
Yes, you are playing with number right now.
Yeah, I like math, but physics, I cannot understand it at all. So now I don't know, maybe for me, maybe I need to have like a training for using SPSS, or I don't know what is the problem, but the things that you are making, the steps that you are following are not easy to know by ourselves, and this is only one question.
Okay. You are welcome to ask anytime if you want. And it's not easy for people who firstly see it. I think even though you like maths, but from the very beginning, it's not an easy job to do it. That's why I always ask you to do some homework or to do some assignment, and you will find yourself whether it is easy or you face some problem while you're doing it. And if you try to do it again and again, I think it's not difficult for you anymore. Everybody can learn. Everybody can learn new things. I believe that. And why we need to convert it? Actually, we convert it because of the assumption, because of this formula. To do comparison, you need to know that DV need to be quantitative and IV need to be category. So from these research questions, we have in we have 8 in continuous scale. So to do comparison, you need to convert it into category first before you do main analysis. This is the trick. It means allow you to recognize, to remember the formula before you apply the number in. For example, if you try to if you try to do a calculus in vector, so what the formula about here? To do ANOVA, what is the formula about? You need to remember the formula. Sometimes I call statistical characteristic. And then when you know the assumption of this characteristic, you just try to make your number to meet the requirement, and then you can analyze. So is it difficult? Yes. It's not an easy job. And most of the people never never like number from the beginning, never like statistic from the beginning. But when you can understand the concept, I think you may like it more than uh, doing qualitative data analysis. Ren, you feel a bit better now, or you still confused with the number?
No, lecturer, the first question made me feel good because when
Yep.
I checked my notebook, I found that all the steps that you have done, and even the zero point 0.5, 0.05, it is mentioned also in the previous sessions. So I felt okay, and everything was fine. But
Mm-hmm.
then the second question about the age groups made me confused again, because it's not because
Ah.
anything, it's just because of converting the age and the way to use the SPSS, the steps that we should follow to
Mm-hmm.
convert the age. This is the problem. So it's just like I need to
Mm-hmm.
practice on SPSS, and maybe not alone, maybe I don't know, maybe as what you suggested, by like watching YouTube videos to learn how to work
Mm-hmm.
on the SPSS program. Yes. Thank you, lecturer.
Okay, so I'll go again with converting the age into group. We have original age is in interval scale. Sorry, in ratio scale. We try to convert it into category. First step that I already show you is converting from age into two category. Now I will make it into three category. And to make it two or three category, we need to see the summary of the age here. First is descriptive statistic that I told you. You have the rank of age from 17 to 34. And why I choose 20 as a cut point? Because I see the mean score is here. It's 20. That's why I choose 20 as the cut point. Eh, Or if I want to make it into three category, I will make it from 17 to 19 as category 1, and then 20 to 24 as category 2, and then 25 to 34 as category 3. So I would go again to the word transform, recode into different variable. I will use age as category, but here I will change the name into category 3. And then I will define old and new value. From old value, I will use rank from 17 to 19. I will remove this first. Sorry. I will choose rank. I choose 17 to 19 as category 1, and then add. I will use 20 to 24 as category 2, and then add. I will use 25 to 32 as category 3, and then continue. New variable will happen to the data set. Here, you see, from the beginning, you just have number 1 and number 2, but now you have number 1 to number 3. You see? You got the point?
Yes, lecturer.
So to convert it's up to you. How you convert it is telling you by this, but how many group or how many category that you want to convert, just try to set the criteria and the cut point is also fine. So I will go to main course of analysis. I will not use compare mean. I will use GLMs as your alternative process. Go to univariate, and I will put ALM1 into dependent variable. I will use 8cat2 as a fixed factor, and that's all. If you want to see some descriptive statistic, you go to option. Descriptive statistic is here. Or if you want to see the effect size, you just take here. But if you don't need to take. Just go and OK. This is the output. And I will go again to see with compare mean. Is it different or not different? Compare mean, and then compare mean, and then I take a group 2 into factor and see the output. Is it different or not? Is it significant different or not?
Yes, it is.
No,
Yes,
no,
the
no.
same.
The same?
It's the
There is
same.
no point. It's
Point
170.
176.
Yes, different table, but the same meaning and the same value.
Well, okay.
So what is the answer? I will use this. What is the answer to research questions?
There are no significant differences for great concern between age group.
Yes, you are right. There is no any significant difference for grade concern between age group. And if you raise the values of statistic, you will see F equal 1.817, and then sig value is 0.978. Is the answer in statistic way. And when you talk about writing, you will write that there are no any significant differences for grade concern between age group. Is the answer. You got it? For ANOVA, are you clear right now? Any more questions? If you have, please. Okay, that's all for the assignment that I posed. And I would like to ask you to go through the slide here again, but actually you did it already. Just a revision or remind you again. Here is a formula for ANOVA, and if you have these questions, you can identify IV and DV. As you see the formula here, DV need to be category. More than 2 category also fine, but DV need to be quantitative. So this kind of research question talking about, are there significant mean difference for income levels between male and female employee? So we found that IV is gender. It has 2 categories, male and female, and DV is income. So we would like to go for the first way that we can do is, sorry, I point to means. Actually, it's not mean. Let me change this. Go to ANOVA. We go to analyze, compare mean or one way ANOVA for the first way that we can do it, or we can go to the second way that we can do ANOVA is GLM, analyze, GLM, and univariate. Also fine. And I already showed you the table that we just analyzed a bit before. The result is the same. The complexity of the table is different, but the output is the same, especially F value and significant value. And if you go to ANOVA tape, you will see this tape, and you bring income into dependent, you bring age into fixed factor. And then if you want to see some descriptive statistic, you go to option, and then you choose everything that you want to check for the output. Here I choose three things. The first is homogeneity of variance. The second is estimate of effect size. And last one is descriptive statistic. Mostly people choose only the first one, descriptive statistic. And then you will see the table of output here. Here's the table of descriptive statistic that you choose. And here's the output that you need to check with the word homogeneity of variance. And then the answer here. That's all. And here's the number that you will use to describe or to answer to research question that we mentioned earlier. We can talk like this. It is indicated that there are significant difference for income level upon gender. It means that male and female employee got different income. You clear? You see the first two example talking about not significant, but here talking about significance. So now are you clear with ANOVA? So in the afternoon we will continue to the two statistical technique that left. It is correlations and prediction. And I think we spend just only 1 or 2 hours. The rest, if you have question, yes. And then if you want to ask about your assignment, you are allowed to ask too within the session in the afternoon. So for morning session, I would like to stop our content here. And in the afternoon, we will continue with correlations and regressions. Are you clear with comparison now? A bit quiet.
Yeah, I think we should practice by ourselves. Now we know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
practice at home.
Yeah. The data is available already, right? I already sent to all of you in the group.
I think we better
So
create a
if you
group
don't
and then
have
repeat
any
each other.
question, if you don't have any question, I would like to stop morning session here. If you have question, yes, just expand.
No question for me.
Okay. I would like to say goodbye for morning session, and we will meet again at 2. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Thank you,
much
Bye-bye,
for
lecturer.
joining,
everyone.
and
Rajendra.
see you
Bye.
in the afternoon.
Enjoy your lunch, Rajendra. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. You too.